the show will ever be performed. So to get this started, we're going to need a lot of suggestions from you all. We're going to get your advice, get things for you to start the scenes, sometimes to end the scenes, to make sure that everything is coming fresh in our minds and to prove that we haven't stored anything in our minds behind the scenes. So to get warmed up in that kind of process, we've been warming up backstage for weeks. I want to get you all warmed up and practice giving suggestions like that. So for example, can I get everyone on this side of the audience to shout out what you had for dinner last night? Keep yelling out. Even louder than this. Awesome, thank you. I heard tacos. Perfect. And can I get everyone on this side of the audience to yell out the name of the street that you grew up on? Cool, perfect, thank you. Can I get now everyone in both sides of the audience to yell out your favorite letter of the alphabet? Hey. Perfect. So that's exactly how it's going to go. Every once in a while, to get these scenes started, some of our improvisers might do that, and I really encourage you to yell out as much as you want, as loud as you want. We really need all your suggestions. They'll filter them out, so don't even worry about holding yourself back. Another thing we're going to do to get you a little bit warmed up is we got some news backstage before we were getting the show started. We learned that there are actually some talent scouts in the audience, and they are going to be reviewing the show, and I am up for a position that pays a lot of money as an international stand-up comedian. So the thing about this is that these talent scouts, they're from France, and they don't speak a word of English. So what I need you all to do to help me out, we're going to help get this audience warmed up, is I want you all to laugh and cry and react as if I'm giving just an amazing stand-up set. So spend a second to try. I'm over here, and I'm talking about this art museum I went to, and the paintings were so funny, and you're all laughing at it. Nice. And then I'm over here, and at this art gallery, something was so moving, and we're all reacting to it. And maybe at another part of the art gallery, a burglar jumps out and we're all being robbed! Perfect, just like that. So I encourage you to react just as big as you just did throughout the entire rest of the show. So a couple more things I want to explain before we get started, which is what is this format of improv you're going to be seeing tonight? It might be a little different than other improv shows you've seen, if you've been to some improv before. Tonight we're performing a format called TheaterSportz. It was created by Keith Johnstone, famous improviser. And the way this works is we actually have two different teams of improvisers who are going to be performing scenes and competing for your love and affection. So the way that's going to look is we're going to have a couple different rounds. In every round, both teams will present a scene or a game or something like that, and then you are going to vote through your cheer and applause on whichever team you think did better. So for example, we have two teams here, and if this team did an awesome scene that you loved, you might cheer really, really loudly for it. And if the second team did a scene that wasn't very good, it was a little bit of a dud, you're going to still cheer, but not very loudly. I'm not going to boo them. I guess you can boo them if you want. I think you get the point. So, without further ado, why don't we bring our teams up here? We can get the show started. So the first team I want to bring onto the stage, over here, that's going to be on this side of the stage, to my right, your left, is the Child Prodigies.
I played 4 instruments. My mom's picking me up at 10.
And without further ado, the competitor over here on my left, your right, let me introduce the Greaseballs.
What's up, everybody?
Where's the pepperoni?
So now that we know exactly how this is going to go, let's get this competition started. We'll be competing for this beautiful trophy back here. And we're going to need your love and support and decision making to find out who is going to be the winner at the end of this evening. So to get started, we're going to do a little thing called a toss-up challenge. Toss-up challenge is just a quick way to figure out which team is going to get control of the game to start. So for our first toss-up challenge, The team that gets to pick the first game is the first team that can go grab a cell phone from someone. Oh, that's right. Okay, and that's it. Now give back your cell phone.
Thank you.
All right, perfect. So, Greaseballs, now that you have control, you get to challenge the other team to any type of game of your choice. What's it going to be?
We challenge you to a justification game.
We accept!
Oh.
All right, child Prodigies, what justification game are you going to play?
We're going to play quote slips.
Quote slips. Can you stand up and explain what quote slips is to the audience?
Yes. Quote slips is a game where we do a normal improv scene, but a lot of what we say has to come from these quotes that you guys wrote down when you were coming in. So at some point during the scene, an improviser has to just pick up one of these quote slips and say immediately what is on the quote slip that they read.
You're forgetting one thing, Siena. And then they have to justify why that makes sense in the scene.
And you're forgetting one thing.
Oh, wait.
Actually, that was it. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, let's get started playing quote slips.
Can we have a suggestion for your favorite month of the year?
Thank
Thank you. I heard April. What? It's my birthday.
The petunia smell of beautiful Rosanna.
I know that you, Reginald, and I really love that you love to sit and smell things, but I also love when you help me clip the flowers.
I know, but like you always tell me. Okay, that's valid. Okay, I'll help.
Can you just put those in the wheelbarrow?
Yeah, let's put it in the wheelbarrow.
You know, we gotta chop these flowers all, by this afternoon.
Yeah.
Because, okay, thanks, that's valid. And you're a really freaky boy.
Roseanne, rapper. But, I'll see you tonight, I guess.
Yeah?
Hey, freaky people, it's me, your boss, Patricia. As you know, April flowers bring May flowers. Let's get those. Just get those flowers. Faster, please.
Patricia, what do you think about this one?
Well, I'll tell you. I want dinner, and that looks like lunch. So. I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn, but yes, I'm talking some chemistry.
I mean, I can't. I need to work.
Why do you only emphasize words with the letter D?
Don't dare me! Hey! Seriously, guys? Seriously. We never see each other. Basically.
Yeah, we're here all the time. We need to learn to work together if we want to make it through the May flower season.
Yeah. Also, I don't like when my employees date because it often gets really complicated when I literally used this earlier. And we were together first. With your trim bushes and try to steal him. Peace out.
And that's it. That's the game. Greaseballs, what is the justification game that you're going to play?
we will be playing Flesh Mask.
Flesh mask. Can you explain to the audience what flesh mask is?
This is a traditional scene, but for one twist. During the scene, one of the characters will strip off their face and reveal a whole new character who was there the whole time. Could we get a suggestion for a relationship between 2 or more people?
Lovers.
I heard
Teacher and student.
Parents.
Uncle and nephew.
yes.
Two counts.
Polygamy.
Lesbian lovers.
Thank you. Teacher and student. Teacher and student. So you see, you draw the triangle, and then it's this one got the number.
Yeah.
This one got the number.
Yep.
What do you do?
Adam.
All right, you want to try that and see what happens, or just do the actual part?
I think I'll try maybe.
Okay, Adam, add the numbers.
Okay.
See how that works, champ.
7, 12, 19.
Do you think it makes sense that the 2 arms are the equal length of the hypotenuse? Even though that would be a straight line. Look, Chet.
I ate the chalk.
Look, Chet, we've been over this. First, don't eat my chalk. Second, it's squared, and then you add them up, then you do the square root. But mainly the chalk thing, Chet. That's serious. Get a little tummy ache.
You know, my parents have been saying, hey, Chet, maybe you shouldn't eat as much chalk. And then I say, well, the teacher says that it's bad too.
You're reaffirming what your parents are telling you.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good point, but when you get the chalk that is different colors, sometimes I like to imagine that the white chalk tastes like snow.
That's not even a different colored chalk, that's the normal chalk. And snow is flavorless, what is going on?
I'm in 3rd grade.
Yeah, but you're 19, Chet. Look, I've taken the liberty of hiring you a tutor. I think she can really help.
Wow, really? Okay.
Come in, Miss Treble.
Hey, you're Chet, right?
This is our guy, little chalk eater.
Right, you have a special interest in chalk. That's really great. Maybe we can make that a part of your learning plan.
Like eating more?
Well, yeah, we can talk about that, yeah. Actually, if you want to come over here, I have something to show you in my bag.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's hypoallergenic chalk, so you won't be sick anymore
When I
chowing down.
eat it?
Oh, Miss Treble, actually the idea was more he doesn't eat the chalk.
Oh, the email, the emails are confusing these days.
Oh, technology. Huh.
That's strange because my uncle once said that when I eat chalk, I become bigger and stronger. And then my aunt said, yeah, eat more chalk.
Why who are you?
My aunt and uncle.
Hey, Chetty.
On the elbow!
Oh, yeah, look at him! Look at all the chalkies!
What did you do with this Treble?
Delicious! She's in the trunk. Don't worry. Look, it's huge.
Chet,
Big.
I've always wanted my Chetty wouldn't teach a class all to
gotta
himself.
get a stomach ache. You're killing the boy.
Look, yummy.
No, Chet even. Chet on, no.
And that's the game. All right, audience. You just saw your first round, your first team challenge. We saw 2 scenes from the Greaseballs and from the Child Prodigies, and now we're going to need your vote to decide who takes all the points for this round. So, as I promised, when I stick my hand over each team, you're going to applaud based on how much you liked it.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Do you want us to make a tableau?
Yeah, sure. Yes, that's a good point. Why don't both teams stand up and get in a frozen picture of something that represents the scene they were just in. All right, so freeze in these positions, and cheer now if you think the Child Prodigies won. All right, and cheer now if you think the Greaseballs won. And sounds like, Scorekeeper, the points this round go to the child prodigies. That's 10 points.
With 10 points for the child prodigies, that brings our score to 10-0.
All right, don't worry. We're about to get into our second team challenge, which means we're going to do a whole other round of this and award a few more points. So this time, who chose the last category?
They did.
Yeah, so this time, you get the challenge.
Can we choose the challenge?
Go for it.
May we choose the challenge?
Yes.
Must we choose the challenge?
Shall we?
Let's get to
This vocabulary's up to here.
We have chosen the challenge. Would you like to hear it?
Sound like the friggin' challenge.
Physical restriction.
All right. Physical restriction games. Greaseballs, do you know which physical restriction game you're going to choose?
Yeah, we're gonna do the one where you have to touch each other whenever you talk.
Touch talk.
Touch talk. It's touch
It's
talk.
called touch talk.
This is a game called Touch Talk. Here's how it works. You can't talk unless you're touching someone else in the scene, all right? Can I get a suggestion for, what's under my hands?
Big old box.
Piano, table.
Piano. Small child. Big child. I heard gummy bears. Thank you. Gummy bears.
Excuse me, ma'am. Did you just eat the gummy bear before paying for it?
I'm sorry, Clerk John. I wanted to try.
Put it in the bag, weigh it, check out, then you eat it outside the store.
You know what, mister? I've been coming to this candy store since I was this tall. And no one ever said anything when Eleanor used to run the store.
Yeah, well... yeah, well, Eleanor's gone. You know, you got a lot to learn.
Peace? What kind of clerk are you? You're nothing like Eleanor. Don't touch me!
Hi. Is this the Eleanor's Candy Emporium?
No, it's Johnny's candy right now. Eleanor took a ball.
Trenton, come over here.
Oh,
Trenton,
yeah.
they got new management in this place. I was just doing our usual thing. Come in, take a couple gummy bears here and there, take a couple Fruit Loops, take a couple peach bites, and this guy over here, Clerk John, he's all over me about not eating the food before paying for it.
Oh.
Look, you and your friend are gonna have to get out of here if you keep eating my candy without paying for it, alright?
Look, I'm gonna call the police if you keep mishandling me.
Maybe we can come to a pub.
You wanna come to a comp? Yeah, you wanna come to a comp, big guy?
I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding. You don't want him to get mad, do you? You don't want him to get mad. He's gonna get real mad. You don't know what he's
Show me what happens when you get mad, big guy. I think I'm in love.
You just saw the Greaseballs scene, and now it's time for the child prodigies to do their physical justification game. You know what you're going to be playing?
Not really whispering.
Okay, it's sitting, standing, lying down.
All right. Can you explain what this game is to everyone?
So one person has to be sitting, standing, and lying down at all times during the scene. If you see that one of us is in the same position at the same time, you yell, "What?" Try that with me.
What?
Perfect.
Can we get a suggestion for something that, unlike a boomerang, if you toss it, it would not come back to you? I heard a block.
Welcome to Block World. My name's Sandra. I'm Block Emporium manager. We are open Monday through Friday, also open Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we had a question. Well, I had a question.
You guys know each other?
What?
Oh!
This is my brother.
I miss my brother.
That's very nice. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
This is my brother Marco.
I'm Marco.
Can I get a little help here?
Sure, yes.
Wow!
Oh, I quite like it down here.
I haven't gotten to ask my question.
Oh, sorry.
So,
Wait, what's your name?
I'm Sandra.
Sandra.
So I was playing this game, and actually, I was wondering. Oh, careful, Marco. As a board game, I don't understand what the point is.
It's just blocks.
There's blocks.
Just blocks. You don't do much with the blocks, but there's a lot of blocks, different size blocks, different colored blocks, texture blocks, different width blocks, different material blocks, we got different density blocks. Yo, you really want to see the blocks that I have.
But like, for example, if we roll the dice, what do we do with the blocks?
So the dice actually is the block.
A lot seem to be, and also the actual board doesn't have anything on it. It's just a square.
Well, you got to look closer. See, you got to use your imagination a bit. Like, if you get this close, the blocks are like little ants. You know, building on the shore.
I can't see it.
Get closer.
So you're saying if we get close enough, they will look like machines?
Yeah. Use your imagination, kids. Aren't you guys kids?
Yeah.
We're
8.
Where's your mom, kids?
Europe.
Europe.
Yes.
Like, I'm up? Like, I'm your what?
What?
No. Oh, okay. I was confused. I thought this was like you guys coming to my shop and revealing that I'm your mother and that I actually have a purpose in life.
We just want to buy blocks.
Well, you come to the right place. So this is Block Emporium.
All right, you've just seen both the scenes of round 2. So can we get both teams up here into their tableaus to remind us of the scenes you just saw? All right, so cheer now if you think that the Greaseballs won this one. And cheer now if you think the Child Prodigies won this one. I think that was pretty clear that the Greaseballs are taking home 15 points. All right.
All right, Adam. I'd like to take a moment here for a word from our sponsors. This show today is brought to you by Ritz Crackers. Ritz Crackers has thankfully sponsored 5 points for this show. So whoever is able to get this cracker first, when I say go, will get those 5 points. Go.
All right, and the speediest member of the Greaseballs wins it again. You can have this.
Extra 2 points if you eat.
So what does that bring our score to now?
10 to 22.
10 to 22. Well, okay, don't get too worried, because before we take this into our little 7th inning stretch, we're going to give one more little toss-up to give Child Prodigies a chance to catch up a little bit. So this next game, I'm going to just... This next game is called Story, Story, Die. This is a little bit of a fun game. We're going to get all 6 players up at once. Can we get all the 6 members of both teams right here in one big line? All right, make sure we're alternating. Make sure we're not standing next to our team members. Perfect. So the way this game is going to go is that I'm going to have my magic finger, and anytime I'm pointing to one of these improvisers, they have to be telling a story. They have to be continuing to tell the story that the last improviser was telling. So, for example, for no points, the story might look something like this.
There once was 3 frogs.
Their frogs' names were John
And Adam.
and Toby.
And Michelle.
Something like that. And keep going and telling a story, but here's the catch. Every time someone messes up their line, every time someone hesitates, every time someone forgets to pick up on the sentence that the last person left off on, you are all going to yell as loud as you can, "Die!" And you're going to point at them, and they're going to die a gruesome, gruesome death, and then fall, and their corpse will lay there on stage for us all to remember. So, and then as you might expect, the last person on stage is going to gain some more points for their team. So let's get it rolling. To get these stories started, can I get a suggestion for a non-geographic location? Not a city or anything, but just a place. I heard cafeteria. Thank you. I heard a cafeteria. So we're going to hear a story inspired by this word cafeteria.
Once upon a time, there was a cafeteria. In this cafeteria, there were 3 friends.
And their names were Felicity,
Drum.
And Michelle. Michelle loved to eat Ritz crackers every day, all day.
But the only thing that could
Ever help her with her
Hunger was to eat the crackers.
With milk.
and cheese.
Ah, die! You didn't say decay of milk. All right. Let's get the story started. Can we get a new story inspired by another word?
curtains.
Curtains. Thank you. Curtains.
Curtains are the biggest thing ever, said John.
And he loved
To say that.
Yet it wasn't true.
Because really,
curtains were very
Tiny. They were the.
Smallest thing for him.
to ever eat
with his mouth.
and then put it.
He would often.
All right. All right, audience. We're gonna need another word for the next story. Mango. Thank you. I heard mango.
The funny thing about mangoes is
They are round
And large.
And also
Big and
orange.
and red.
and when they
go to the
Store.
you can buy them.
for not a lot of money
It's really cheap to.
Buy mangoes,
with your food.
said the guy.
The guy was named.
John and
You wanted to.
so he sold
Yeah.
To the mango store.
And he.
ate them all.
Yep.
We've got 2 Greaseballs left and 1 child prodigy. Let's get another word.
Capitalism.
Singapore.
Capitalism. Thank you. Capitalism.
The cogs of industry.
Said that.
You can never.
Be alone.
Yet when the
Money stops.
Running out.
capitalists
Go ahead.
And they kill all of the other types of governments with power.
the thing about the
Frog win power.
Frog is that
Die.
frog.
All right, audience. Here you have it. That's the Greaseballs left. They're the only ones standing. 2 people left. Means they get 10 extra points. So, like I promised, we're going to take a tiny bit of a break here. For those of you who have been to American sporting events before, we recognize that you've been sitting down for a long time, so we're going to get everyone up on their feet and do a little bit of a 7th inning stretch. So if you're familiar with this, you know what it is. If you're not, it's going to be really weird. So let's all stand up real quick, and we're going to get Toby here, our musical improviser, to play a little song that we're going to sing along to. You might know this song as Take Me Out to the Ball Game. If you don't know it, that's fine. Just sing whatever you want as loud as you can. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the one quick announcement before we get right back to the game. You all have bought a ticket to the show, that's why you're here, but you might know that your tickets get you into any of our shows for this whole weekend. So if you like what you've seen so far, and if you like what you see in the second half of the game, you're free to come back to any other show tomorrow night at 7 or 9, Saturday at 7 or 9, and Sunday at 7 or 9. Come back to as many of those as you want to. We hope you're having a great time. So, without further ado, let's get back into it. Scorekeeper, can we get an update on the score?
Well, the score right now is 10 points for Child Progidies and 32 points for the Greaseballs. However, we do have another sponsor. This episode of TheaterSportz is brought to you by the letter I. And the letter I has sponsored one bonus round, which goes a little something like this. For each letter I in your team's name, you get 5 bonus points.
Alright, let's hear some names over here. Child Prodigies?
Well, Child Prodigies has 3 points. 3 I's for a total of 25 points.
Alright.
Greaseballs has no I's in their name. Total is 0 bonus points. That brings our score to 25 to 32.
The game is not over yet. The game's not over yet, audience. And you and only you have the decision to decide who's going to take home this beautiful trophy back here.
I would like to take it home.
Maybe we so we're gonna get these. Okay, minus 3 points to the Child Prodigies for asking too many questions.
Sir, please, no.
And back to the game. So, we're going to get the second half started. Justin got the first half started with another toss-up challenge. So we're going to decide who's getting control of the game for the second round. And this round's toss-up challenge is the team that gets control is the team that is able to take off all their shoes the fastest. Wow, that was impressive. Take on control and they get the 3 points back.
Come on, laces! What are you gonna do?
I don't even know how to tie my shoe.
All right. Well, Child Prodigies, you know what that means. You get to challenge the other team to a game of your choice.
We're gonna challenge the Greaseballs to the best scene about a breakfast.
We accept!
We accept.
We'll go first.
All right, so the Greaseballs are going to be performing the best scene that they can about a breakfast. If you want to get any further suggestions, feel free to go for it or not.
Let me get a suggestion for your favorite breakfast food.
Waffles.
Alright, I heard a smoked salmon. Smoked salmon. Whatever. Rodney, I love coming and watching you fish while I eat my breakfast.
Well, Sandra, it tastes fresh when it's right out of the pond.
That's true. This fish still has blood on it.
That's my special sauce. They're really biting today, huh?
Yeah.
Sandra.
Yeah. You were saying back there about special sauce. Where'd you get this? Is this the sauce from?
Yeah, from the store? Yeah. Special sauce.
Spicy.
Is it? It shouldn't be.
Maybe I'll wait for the next fish, Rodney.
Say, pass me a worm.
Alright, got one right here. I'm gonna name him Pithecus.
Don't name them, it makes them harder to kill.
Oh.
Let me see Pithecus.
Sounds like Rodney.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, where's Trevor anyways?
Who's Trevor?
Trevor?
Oh, the little kid who runs around here?
Yeah.
Oh, you know me. I guess that dude. Bad call.
Hey, you guys see my kid Elle?
Mean Trevor?
Who? Oh, the little scrawny kid who runs around.
Yeah, that's
Did you
one of
name
them.
him that?
Yeah, his name's Elle. He's He's about yay high, blonde hair, kind of looks like a worm.
Who's L?
Trevor.
Who's Trevor? Oh, the little scrawny kid.
Yeah, we'll let you know when we find him.
All right, my number. You want my phone?
Yeah.
Hey, that's my wife. Nah, give her the number.
We'll only call you if you find your child. Won't call you for any other reasons.
Okay, sounds safe.
Name my kid?
Well, you know, I like to, when stuff comes around here, I'm bored sometimes. I like to give it a name.
Sir, I did not name your kid.
It was me. To be fair, it was me who named the kid Trevor. He responded. I don't know what to do.
Oh, something's biting. Something's biting. Sandra, get over here.
I know you have trouble doing it yourself.
My arms are stiff.
It's me!
It's the scrawny kid.
Oh my god. I haven't seen you in months. Bottom of the list.
Yeah, I was bottom feeding.
That's not the kid I was talking about.
I'm still looking for Trevor.
The scrawny kid.
I'll go back to the ocean.
That was the Greaseballs' best scene about breakfast, and now we're going to see the Child Prodigies' best scene about breakfast. Let's take a look.
Could I please get a suggestion for a time of the year? Summer.
Winter.
I heard March 31st. Another calendar in the trash.
I hate this time of year, calendar throwing away time.
March 31st.
Throw away your calendars, because the rest of the year's already gonna suck.
Last March 31st, I knew it was time for me to throw away my calendar right when I got hit in the face with an egg.
You got put in the face in the egg? You got I've been hit in the face with the egg. Well, you know what really grinds my gears? When I get bit in the beak with the bacon.
I do not like getting bit in the beak with bacon, especially on March 31st.
On March, dang.
You know what else really roasts my forehead? When I get slapped in the eyes with a sausage.
I've heard that one before. But you know what really just makes me want to go, I'm angry. Well, Roseanne, I hate when my pips gets puffed by a pancake.
Hey, so I'm Dr. Johnston. You're here for the concussion appointments?
Yes.
Great. How are you two doing?
Well,
Good as a willy waffle on a Wednesday.
and I myself on the way here got mauled by some maple syrup.
Okay.
It could have been a car. It could have been
By a car.
Multiple cars. They
mowed
did see
down
us on the road.
by some maple syrup. Yes, me, but maybe a car.
Okay, so you're feeling all right, or how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. You ever get that bowl of cereal and you get the perfect ratio of the Cheerios to the milk and there's that yummy honey juice at the end?
Yeah, I do really like that. I call that my honey juice.
I feel better.
Oh, batter?
Pancake bad.
If we don't feel good right now, then it isn't March 31st.
I'd say. Probably gonna need to do a couple more exams. Is that okay? It's just if you.
Are you gonna ask me what kind of breakfast I like the most? Because for me,
yeah.
it's really when I get downstairs and I cut open a brand new, ginormous
Ooh,
grapefruit.
sing it!
I put it in a bowl, a big salad bowl, because it's such a big grapefruit.
Oh, yes!
I sprinkle it with sugar, and I get my spatula, and I shovel it in. So, I think I probably passed your little exam, Doc.
You did.
Doc,
Yes,
are we? I think we're gonna ask the questions from now on, Doc.
Jake!
Today's December 8th.
Right. Everyone, both teams up here. Let's take a quick vote on which scene, of those two scenes we like. Everyone get up here. Let's get a tableau of our two different breakfast scenes. So you're gonna applaud right now if you like the child prodigy scene about breakfast. Okay, and you're gonna. Oh my God. You're gonna applaud right now the Greaseballs scene about breakfast. Alright, well it sounds to me like the child prodigies are taking home 15 more points. But wait. Audience, I'm afraid, at least from my perspective as the ref, that you haven't really been a big enough part of the show yet. So I think it's about time that we do a little bit of a ref challenge, where I'm going to challenge both teams to a scene with audience participation. So let's just real quick clarify what this is. Each of these teams is going to do a scene that requires them to get one of you, or maybe multiple of you, to come up on stage and help with the scene in some way. This might range from being a player in the scene or just giving some suggestions in the scene. You get the details later. But when they do decide to explain what game that is they're playing, please feel free to raise your hand, volunteer, and we'll bring you up on stage to get one of these games started. Who started the last round?
They
They
did.
did. Well, then, child prodigies, most recent winners, why don't you play the first audience participation game?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. We're gonna play a little game called Moving Bodies. So, are there two audience members? Two audience members who would be willing to come up on stage and just,
You don't gotta speak.
you just have to touch our elbows.
Can you raise your hand?
Oh yeah, how are we gonna pick from all
What's
these?
this? We got
We got
two
two. We got
volunteers
two.
right here. Perfect. Can you stand up?
Thank you very much. So, this is a game where you guys are basically going to be the puppeteers for us improvisers. So what are your names? Maddie.
John.
John. Thank you guys so much for participating. Yeah, so basically, we're the puppets, you're the puppeteers. So for example, if you were moving Toni here, so you'd be in charge of Toni. And anytime that you want her to move forward or backward in the scene, you can just sort of guide her along. So you can just tap the back of her knees, yeah, to make her walk. And then to move her arms or to move her in position, you just place her arms over, and then when you let go, it'll stay. So you can just stick around whenever you feel like, and if you just do a light, light sort of movement, they will respond. So. Okay. Does that make sense? All good? Okay.
So, John, do you want to be my puppeteer?
Yeah, so, I can do the scene if I want to, but I will not do it. Okay.
Cool. So to start, can we get a suggestion for something that is? It's very seasonal. It's fall. It's a fall thing. I heard scarf. Okay, so the suggestion is scarf.
Got it.
Deborah,
Yes. Frank.
have you seen my scarf anywhere around here?
I think it's over there.
Over where? Sorry.
Ooh, yes. It is down. Oh, it's down for. I'm grabbing it. I have it.
I'm gonna need it for my big meeting today.
Oh, your big meeting at Rick's Emporium.
Rick's Scarf Emporium.
Oh, yes. I love you.
That feels really nice, Deborah.
I always know how to make you feel good.
Yeah, this is it.
This is it. We've been married 35 years.
Is that scarf tied nice and tight?
Oh no, I haven't done it yet.
Got it. Not too tight.
There you go. Look in the mirror. You look dapper.
All right, can't wait to do it.
Oh.
Hey, it's does look good. But what's this on the end?
Oh no, you don't like the pom-poms I added to your scarf?
No,
Oh, you hate
I love the pom-pom. I'm smiling.
So, are you guys ready for your holiday photo?
Yes!
Yeah, can you just
Definitely. Thank you for coming on such short notice.
No problem, yeah. I mean, I'm
So you're just gonna stand in front of me? You don't even want to
Amazing, amazing. So that's an example of one of those audience participation games. And now the Greaseballs are going to play another game in a similar style.
All right. We're going to be playing a little-known game called Text Message. Now, we would please like a member of the audience to, well, I'll explain the game so you know what you're getting yourself into. How about that? What's going to happen is one of the characters in the scene, the only lines that they will have will be read off of an audience member's text message chain. So, boom! Thank you! Right over here. Welcome, Larry. Okay, well, I mean, you know, this one's good. Oh yeah, pick whichever one you want.
Group texts are fun too.
Yeah, group text. If there's ones with jokes or funny stuff.
I love that. It's
We
hilarious.
love that. We love the funny
Or
stuff.
really dramatic ones.
Laugh out loud.
Did you text your marriage pact? Oh God. Okay. Boy, we'll take whatever works. Whatever you're comfortable with. Okie dokie. Alright. So, wayfair.
And then could we get a suggestion for a non-geographic location?
Shout him out, shout him out.
Voting good. Costco.
Thank you. I heard the mall. The mall.
Alex, what do you think of this one?
I hear you met Lila.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Lila would look better in this.
Yeah, she was visiting one of my best friends a little while ago, and we were all hanging.
Alright, well, I mean, I guess you don't have to come to the prom with me if you don't want to.
Amazing. How's your year going?
Well, after that, a little less good, honestly. I mean, who are you gonna go with now, if not me?
The climbing wall looks dope.
You and Jeff are always at the climbing wall when you're supposed to be going to prom with me and Nancy. I mean, what's the deal with that? Every year, we try to go to the prom, you guys are like, this climbing wall looks awful good, and Lila's there too.
The year's going pretty well. School's been kicking my butt lately, but it's enriching. Life otherwise is complicated and full, but so much fun.
Alex, it's always about you, isn't it?
How about yours?
Okay. I'm glad you're having a fun year and going climbing a lot, but honestly, I was really excited for the prom.
Ah, that's awesome.
You know what, Alex? You've got a friend. You've got a friend. His name's Roger. Why don't you ask him if he'll go with me?
Complicated is interesting. Smiley face.
What? You don't even make sense to me anymore. I just ask Roger.
Well, I'm also super slammed with school this quarter. Barely getting off campus, which is weird, but feels more like college than other years. PC of it.
Yeah, I guess this year is a little more like college. We're kind of finding our own way and sort of thing. I guess I've been sort of ignoring you lately. I don't know. I can see why you wouldn't want to go to the prom.
Yo! Are you around this weekend?
So let's get this vote started. Can we get both teams up here? And get in your tableaus. And we're gonna cheer for the team that you thought did better in that audience participation game. Cheer for the team you think did better, not the audience member that did better. So nothing about the audience members. All right, let's get this cheering going here.
Yeah!
Well, Scorekeeper, what do you think? That was a pretty close one.
Well, Adam, I would say that those points go to the child prodigies. That brings the score to 42 child prodigies to 32 Greaseballs.
Wow. Well, luckily, audience, there is one more game left before we wrap this night up. There's one final game we're going to play.
And that's right, and that game is brought to you by our latest sponsor, The Dictionary.
That's right. This game is brought to you by our latest sponsor, The Dictionary. So the way this game is going to work, I'm going to get all 6 audience members up here real quick. Everyone in the line.
Hey, I think you misspoke, Ref. You mean us.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry.
Hey,
All 6 players.
No biggie, it's all right.
Yeah, we want points.
Mistakes are part of life.
Get in line, alternating player by player for each team. This game here is called Expert Challenge. So for those of you who have never heard of this game before, the way this goes is we're going to get a random word from you in the audience, and we have a panel of 6 experts up here who are all experts on the word you've just chosen. And they are debating this word. They're debating about this concept that you've just given us. The trick is we're going to set 1 minute on the timer, and the last person who is standing at the middle, the last person who has the ground, gets to take home all the points for this last challenge. So if someone's talking, another player in the back might object to what they're saying and decide to take the floor themselves, and then either ref will decide to sustain or deny their objection.
What do we say to object?
You're gonna yell, "I object." That's how you're gonna do it. And then the person in front's gonna stop, and I'm gonna say, "On what grounds?" And you're gonna tell me the grounds on which you object. How does that sound?
Thank you, sir.
Since we're prodigies, is this an unfair advantage? 'Cause
All right.
So Scorekeeper, can I get 1 minute on the clock? Yes. We have 1 minute on the clock here. So can I get a word that these experts are going to be debating about from the audience?
Onomatopoeia.
I heard facial hair. All right, facial hair experts, get started in 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so facial hair is made up of 2 words, face and old hair. One big mask all around your face. A scrawny...
On what ground?
It's not a mask, it's separate accessories around your face.
Sustained.
Facial hair is separate accessories because a lot of times you can have separate pieces like this, or sometimes you can have one whole piece like this, but a lot of other times you can have sideburns like this. There's a lot of facial hair that you can see on people's
I
face.
object!
On what grounds?
Only Elvis has sideburns!
Sustained.
Elvis Presley is
30
the
seconds
only
remaining.
known human in the world!
On what grounds?
She's wearing so much denim, I can't focus.
Denied.
He has 2 sideburns on each side of his face!
On what grounds?
He has 1 sideburn on each side of his face.
And the 4th sideburn is colored red! Oh my God!
On
He
what
just
grounds?
said he only has 2, now he's saying he has 4! Numbers are important, we have to stick to the numbers!
On what grounds?
Numbers aren't important. I said feelings are how we communicate.
Looks like the Greaseballs win this challenge. What does that bring our score to, Scorekeeper?
Watch out, I'm a kid!
Well, that brings our score from 42 for the child prodigies to 47 for the Greaseballs!
15 points
That 15-point challenge.
And that's right, the Greaseballs are our winners tonight, and they are taking home our trophy. Take your bow. please come back later this weekend. We are the Stanford Improvisors collectively, but individually we are
Deedee!
Adam,
Jack!
Siena!
Robin.
Brian.
Toni!